Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Let's Talk Antiques here on Thunder Radio. And I've got the lineup sitting across from me here on the... oops.
Did that get your ears, Howard?
Oh,
Did
what
that
was
burn
that?
your ears?
Is it thundering? Is it raining outside? Good morning there, guys.
Good morning, Howard.
What's
You know what, Howard? You think about this. You're a two-show man now.
What about that?
Used to be just a one-show man.
Yeah, they doubled my salary, too.
Did he?
Did it? Double nothing's nothing, ain't it?
That's right.
I bet he probably makes 100,000 a year, Ronnie.
Money.
Well, I had to pay income tax this year, if that means anything.
Yeah. That means something.
I don't like this new tax plan.
Well, I'll tell you something. We paid more this year than we ever paid.
What'd you have to pay?
I mean,
about 40, 50,000?
Yeah, in that
your
neighborhood.
Well, you wouldn't think it'd be over about 30 on a $100,000 salary.
Oh, well, yeah, you would, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but
Having never made that much, I don't know.
He's in the 50% tax bracket.
90.
90?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm giving my fair share back, unlike some politicians that I know.
God bless you.
Oh,
Gotta grease the wheels, don't we, Howard?
yes, sir. What's on the games? What's on the program?
Well, we was going to talk about
games.
we was
Yeah.
going to talk about Flask, but Ronnie's going to save that show to next week, and we've come up with board games.
Oh,
You know, I can't think of anybody that hadn't played a board game in some time in their life, you know, as a kid or as an adult. They still play.
the spin the bottle count?
Yeah, it counts. And how many do you think are sitting around in attics and
Yeah.
basements?
Well, I went out and roughly counted. I probably got about 250 board games. I just got them. As I'd pick them up, I just stacked them up. So I've got at least 250
I've got
different
a
ones.
Rubbermaid container plumb full.
See, there you
A
are.
big one. One of those great old
You
big
got
ones.
any?
Yeah, of course. We got it covered
any?
full.
You know, I was just noticing I've got like a really old Monopoly
See?
game sitting out, but it's missing most of the pieces. But after researching a little bit about today's show, it made me wonder if it was just the box is probably worth something, you know?
Yeah.
Of course.
But you didn't just research a little bit, did you?
Well, yes.
You researched a whole lot, knowing you.
Oh yeah, it's all I did it all the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, I bet you that there's not a listener or a watcher that hadn't experienced some type of board game like we was talking about.
Right. And there's a lot of them come out that just out for a year or two and then they're gone. If you
Yeah.
happen to have one of those,
Those are the best.
those are the ones that have that are worth
You know,
money.
even Manchester had its own board game, and Jiffy Burger was on it. And I've got a whole case of them somewhere, and I'm going to have to find them. But this was years ago, probably about 30 years ago. They created a board game just for Manchester.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Now, they've done that with Monopoly, haven't they? They take the Monopoly board instead of having the city streets, you know, like New York, and they put in ones for that local area.
That's a great
And-
idea.
And they're kind of, I guess they're kind of like a promotional game.
Have you saw some of those?
I've read about them somewhere, but I've never seen one
I
in
hadn't
real
either.
life.
Oh,
But
you've seen them. You just don't. I've seen them, but I can't tell you what.
yeah,
city it
I don't
was
remember,
for.
but I
I've
remember.
definitely seen them.
I think, you know, like a Chamber of Commerce is entered
That,
into
that's exactly who did this one.
into an agreement with whoever owns Monopoly, and they come up with a special
Yeah.
edition.
Well, I think that's what this is, you know, because each one of them had a business on it.
Yeah, a business or,
Yeah.
or city street instead of
Hey,
you know.
before we get started, though, you got to do your spiel.
Oh yeah,
My wife, if you don't do that, she'll be on me. And
Will she? Okay.
yeah.
She's always on the Facebook liking on our stuff. But so we are live on WMSR.
Uh-huh.
And we will replay on Charter Channel 193 and on LightTube Channel 6. But one of the easiest way to find us is to go to Facebook and search News Leader on 6 for theirs, or Let's Talk Antiques has its own page too.
And I watch it. I watch it every week on YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, on YouTube. Sorry.
Yeah, and then also you can go to mine. You can go to my Facebook and just hop right on it too.
Now there are more ways than
send
you
it to
can
me.
count to watch the
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
But speaking of 193, it's on every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday.
There you go.
And then on LightTube, we're on every day at 1:30. Matter of fact, the gentleman called me and said, "Guess who I'm watching right now?" You know, he was my uncle, so I knew who he was watching.
He better be anyway,
Would that
right?
been right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So,
Yeah, I like
so if you would please like, share, repeat on all of those, it will help bump us up in the Facebook viewing thing, and it'll suggest it to more people.
Hey, real quick before we get started on the history of board games, and that's where we're going to go, and then we're going to go to the 30 best board games according to the survey.
Mm-hmm.
But Nancy says I'm bad about this, but right now I'm watching Groucho Marx. You know, some of his old shows.
Oh,
Remember
yeah.
You
I
Bet
like
Your
those.
Life?
You Bet Your Life. The bird came down.
Yeah, the duck.
The duck, yeah.
But anyway, I tell you, it is really interesting. So today, about 4:30 in the morning, I was watching this one particular show. This guy was on there. He was 102 years old.
Uh-huh.
Okay, he had 16 kids, and total of between kids, grandkids, and great grandkids, he had 155.
Good Lord.
Wow.
But he was 102, and I tell you what, he said he started smoking when he was 2 years old. Because you know how Groucho, he said, well, how come you've lived so long? And he said, Groucho asked him, said, do you drink? He said, set something in front of me and see if I will. I mean, he was full of energy,
Yeah.
but he was really sharp.
You can tell he was a busy old man.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think that's the secret. You know, you keep on keeping on. You don't give up.
Yeah,
but 102, that's...
Yeah.
That many
Well, I mean,
kids and
smoking
grandkids.
since you're 2 years old, who would ever smoke at 2 years old? I never smoked, and I'm 69. I don't want to smoke.
No, I...
That's
but
one habit I
but
didn't pick up.
But you got to remember, back in those days, doctors approved cigarettes.
I've got ads. I've got ads that
9
say
out of 10 doctors approved
I've got
Pall
ads.
Mall or
That's
whatever it
right.
was, Pall Mall or whatever it
I've
was.
got paper ads that say that.
I know. It's, times have changed.
Yeah.
Maybe, hopefully.
But
for the
anyway,
good.
they asked him also about what he eat, and he eat anything he wanted to. So
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like no big secret.
I
He
saw a
probably-
doctor on television prescribe cigarettes for irritable bowel syndrome. It was house, so, go
Yeah.
from there.
So anyway, Nancy says that once I get on something, I just stay on it, and she's right. I've been watching these different. You know, he was on. Good God, what 14 years? I know.
Oh,
I
he
know
was
over
on-
12.
Well, he was on the radio
Started
first.
His
too.
first pilot was 49.
Yeah, he was on the radio. He was a big radio star.
But even
And-
then, Howard, during the TV show, they was doing the radio at the
Well,
same
of
time.
course, yeah. That was early television where the radio shows brought over to
Yeah,
television.
exactly.
And,
Kill video killed the radio star.
Yeah, it really did. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so if you want to get some laughs, just go to YouTube and start watching some of that. You Bet Your Life with Groucho Marx.
Or if you have, a lot of people have cable and or satellite, like Me TV is one
But
of
the
your
best way to do it, Howard.
But you can find them where they got them all.
Yeah, you
you
can do
can
that.
binge watch.
Yeah, that's
Get
what.
me TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I like about the YouTube one is they've cut out all the commercials.
Yes.
Yeah.
Guess who was one of his big commercials? Well, you know. I know you know because you're a car person.
Well, he was. Yeah. Was it?
You remember?
Was it?
Remember he'd open up that little door,
Edsel?
No.
DeSoto.
DeSoto. Yeah. You remember DeSoto there? No.
I've saw
An
some.
old car company.
I've seen some DeSoto.
Yeah, the DeSoto was a good car. That was a Chrysler product, by the way.
DeSoto Plymouth.
Yeah,
That's what-
DeSoto
And they're
Plymouth.
worth a little money nowadays.
Yeah.
You got a good?
Person. I don't think I've ever seen a DeSoto in person.
You had?
I have. I've been to a lot of car shows.
Huh.
Huh. Young
They're not-
whippersnappers.
they're not around all over town, you know.
Now,
So,
you know what? Come to think of it, Howard, I hadn't seen one in a long time. Have you?
Not recently, but
I hadn't even seen one in a parade. You know how they have the parade?
Yeah.
Or the cruise in.
Well,
You know, we have the cruise in
Yeah.
last Saturday of August.
Right.
Every year. I don't,
There was one at that car show in Nashville we went to.
was it?
but you got to go to a really big show to see cars like that. Most of the local cars around here, they're Fords and Chevys and
Muscle
Pontiacs
cars and stuff.
muscle cars.
Chevelles
That's
and
what everybody
GTO.
loves.
Yeah,
Muscle
Camaros.
But if you get into a big show, really big, that's when the independent guys show up.
I like those 60
Yeah.
Camaros.
You come up with the Kaiser. How about a Kaiser? When was the last time you seen a Kaiser or a Fraser?
Yeah.
I never.
Henry J.
Never.
Now I seen it. There's a guy over by the old on Bowling Alley Road. He's got the nicest Henry J I've ever seen.
Yeah, over in Tullahoma way.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've seen him every once in a while. That was my first car,
How
by the
you?
way.
Was it really?
Yeah, 1951 Henry J.
Very nice.
You'll be lucky to find one that's all original because they took those and made dragsters out of them.
Yeah, they had a very aerodynamic body for that time. So the guys would buy the Henry J, and tear out all the stuff and make a drag car out of it.
And that's what happened to most of them too.
And those old T-rods.
Yeah. That's it.
You know, another thing about a DeSoto was it had push button drive.
Yeah. It had a push button transmission.
In '55, it had air conditioning.
Yeah.
Ain't that amazing?
And another thing about a lot of those old cars, and that I've noticed, the colors were brought a bright color and 3-tone, not
Yeah.
2-tone, but 3-tone
Yeah.
cars. Nowadays, you see white, black,
Yeah.
silver, and occasionally you'll see another color.
You know,
no,
speaking of two-tone vehicles, the only thing that my Dodge is white and gray, but like Ford, remember that they sold a lot of those black and grays
yeah,
with the red stripe.
but,
But you don't see many
Uh-uh.
two-tone cars.
and the interior.
But you know,
of
I
car-
like them. I like them better than the.
I do
red
too.
And
solid
today
colors.
you go into the car dealership, they got probably a brown interior, a gray interior, and a black interior.
And I miss the old chromed out cars too.
And back in the day, they were beautiful, multicolored interiors.
Mhm.
And matter of fact, AMC even had one by Gucci, or how you pronounce it.
really?
Yeah, and they had the people that make the blue jeans.
Levi?
Levi. They had a Levi interior. I mean, they were beautiful. But nowadays, everything's black. Although you might
wouldn't
see.
believe what them old Levi's bring.
Yeah, yeah.
You talking about the interior or
I'm talking about
just
the
Levi?
pants.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
The old pants.
The
Oh
old
yeah.
world.
But anyway, you know that has nothing to do with board games unless you're playing a board game about cars.
Well, I mean, you
But-
know,
Usually you move a little car around. a lot.
Well, yeah, there is a little car on that. On
yeah,
the
but there's
Monopoly.
shoes and houses and all kinds of stuff you move around.
Yeah.
Besides that, what was it Monopoly took away? They took out of the game.
Oh, they took one away.
They took 2 or 3 out, didn't they?
Yeah, they updated and they said these were not popular anymore. Oh my, what was it?
I do not know.
I don't remember, but you're right. I remember them doing that, but I don't know which one they took
I'll
away.
tell you an old game that brings a lot of money. A board game is the Wizard of Oz that come out in '39.
Uh huh.
Gone with the Wind come out the same year.
Yeah.
But anyway, that they created a board game and it's really pretty. And a lot of people takes those old board games and frames them up.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I've seen that. I've seen the boards framed.
But I think you're looking that up, aren't you? See,
I am. I'm trying to figure out.
a Monopoly.
What pieces did they take
I
out?
can't see where they said what they took out. They're just saying what they still have.
Why don't you put deleted
Yeah, there
Monopoly
you go.
pieces and see what comes up then?
Okay, here we go. The thimble, the boot, and the wheelbarrow were removed.
Okay, the
Well,
piece, the game
probably
pieces.
most young people don't know what a thimble is.
Yeah, they've never done any sewing.
Well,
have they?
Well, most people don't sew. Not even it's stuff you can
I
buy
have to-
stuff
I
made
gotta do my own
overseas.
sewing.
cheap.
I have to sew my buttons on
Yeah,
and stuff
yeah.
when I pop them off.
This old man, he's dead and gone now, but he used to go to a lot of car races stuff. I'm
Uh-huh.
talking in the '60s, and they'd be sitting around and he'd hung out with a bunch of rich people, and so you know what his claim to being rich was?
What?
He said his family's the one that invented the thimble.
I mean, dang.
Well, a lot of people collect thimbles.
Do you?
No. But when we had our business, we catered to a lot of travelers.
You sell
And-
sewing kits, didn't you?
Well, no, we sold thimbles
So you
with
just-
Tennessee on them.
just oh wow,
And
just
people would
them.
come in and buy a thimble for every state they've been in, and they had a little collection of thimbles, from all the different states.
Not in a while though. Now that you mention it.
Remember they used to do bells that way. Those little
Yeah, little bells. That was another thing we had.
that states with all the different states on.
But
it.
we sold a lot of thimbles. I was amazed.
I bet.
Yeah.
You didn't ask me what they replaced the.
Oh yeah, what did you replace them with?
A T-Rex, a rubber ducky, and a penguin.
For the kids.
No.
A rubber ducky.
A rubber ducky?
So currently we have a Scotty dog, top hat, race car, battleship, cat, T-Rex, rubber ducky, and penguin.
Most people, most young kids don't even know what a top hat is.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
No, I've seen. There's actually top hats are kind of popular a little bit right now.
Are they?
In pop music
Are they?
culture.
I got some nice cowboy hats.
Then you want me to retract that statement?
well. How about us retracting a,
Well,
a
is
break?
it a statement or just an
Yeah, well,
observation?
we need to pay the bills.
Yeah, we need to take a break here.
All right, then we're going to get started with the history.
of board games.
Yeah.
Can you
Okay.
imagine we killed 15 minutes.
I
and
know.
talk about anything.
We'll be right back. Hopefully.
We'll give you a show sooner or later.
Okay.
Hello, I'm Pick and Rick T from CFC, best place to get you used auto parts and all types of metals to repurpose for your needs. Just take a drive down 55, see this handsome guy, stop on by. Check out our computer for hundreds of autos to locate the make and the model of the part you need. $2 fee is all you pay. Sign in, get a hand stamp, it's good for all day. Bring in your tools, get the parts you need pulled, and use a wheelbarrow to lighten the load. Pay for your parts, prices you'll be fond of. Each part's price the same, Chevy or Honda. Get exchange warranty for 30 days too. Swap out the parts you don't need for the parts that you do. Happy picking!
The Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester has been voted as having the best hamburgers in Manchester. Hometown atmosphere, historical memorabilia, and of course those great burgers, salads, chicken, and so much more. It's the Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester. Call in orders at 728-4452. You can also order at the convenient outdoor curb service. Hamburgers are made the old-fashioned way at the Jiffy Burger, Manchester's finest hamburgers. Open 7:30 until 9, Monday through Saturday.
Here.
Okay, are we going to talk about board games now, or what are we
Oh,
going to
yeah.
do?
Might as well.
First of all, let's talk about the history.
All right.
Okay.
Howard, you sure they can hear us? If
Well,
not, we can share that one.
pull the microphone closer to you. Closer.
We got the TV that's
Oh.
recording too. I mean, tell you what, let's do. Let's do it like this. Let me move this out of the way.
Now I hear you.
You know, that's how they go anyway.
There we go. Okay. If I need to say something, I'll just pull it
You'll
forward.
just.
But
take
you
my
make a
mic.
lot of banging noise, see, when you
Yeah.
move it around.
Well, I'll lean over.
Okay.
Boom, 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 boom.
Okay. Somewhere between their first birthday and their first kiss, many children fall in love with the board game.
Right.
It's their love affair that can last a lifetime. According to Joyce Hember and others, demand for vintage board games associated with the Universal Studios monster movies of the 1930s, 40s, and 50s has surged in recent years, inspired in part by a rising interest in other collectibles from the same era. Games in perfect condition featuring Dracula, Frankenstein, or the Wolfman can fetch $1,000, says Himborough, who sold a still sealed 1963 Creature from the Black Lagoon game by Hasbro a few years back for $2,000. That'd be an impressive one. And I've never
Yes.
seen a Creature from the Black Lagoon
I
game.
need that one.
Demand for games from the 1960s and 70s is growing, Grant says, as younger people are buying them for their parents. Among Grant's inventory of vintage games is a 1963 Jungle Hunt shooting game for $400, a Milton Bradley ice cube game, one that uses actual ice cubes as playing pieces, goes for $325. Now, I have to stop there for a second.
Now, you're going to use ice cubes for playing pieces?
Yes, so I assume that's not the same as Don't Break the Ice, the thing where you hit with the little hammer.
What
and
happens
you
when
try
they
not to-
melt?
Maybe that's part of the game.
That's part of the game, probably.
When it melts, that's the end of the game. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So some games are collectible simply because they're unique. Witch, a 3D board game from the 1970s and shaped like a haunted house, sold recently at auction for $200. Green Ghost, a game from 1965 that features glow-in-the-dark pieces, and it's notable because it was meant to be played in the dark, could command as much as $500. Limited edition versions of classic games can sometimes fetch good prices, says Lauren Price, owner of Blackboard Games in Cincinnati. Franklin Mint issued a version of Monopoly in 1991 that looked like the original 1935 Parker Brothers edition, but had gold-plated charms.
Wow.
The city sold one last year for $800, hundreds more than he would have sold just 4 years earlier. And then we get one of the earliest known board games. It was named Game of the Goose, where two or more players moved pieces by rolling a die or two dice. The game originated in the late 1500s in Italy. It's considered the prototype for many of the commercial European racing board games of later centuries. The players race around a track divided up into 66 sections, with the goal of being first to the end. The first American board game of Goose was made in 1843 by the W&S.B. Ives Company of Salem, Massachusetts in 1844. The Ives brothers invented the national game of the American Eagle, in which players competed to ascend to the U.S. presidency while avoiding political pitfalls. Only one copy of the game is known to exist.
Wow. Hey, on that note, since you're talking about that, the first board game, Traveler's Tour Through the United States, and its sister game, Traveler's Tour Through Europe, were published in 1822, and they claim the distinction of being the first board games published in the United States.
Wow.
So about 20 years earlier than
Yeah.
the
I
one
think
he was
that
talking
was the
about.
first one of that Goose
No, he
game.
didn't say that was the
Right,
first one.
yeah. The earliest known 19th century... Oh, I've got that. Okay. You jumped me on that.
Okay.
Also joining the early game makers was Milton Bradley. Bradley, a lithographer, produced the checkered game of life. It was a hit. 40,000 games were sold by 1861, a year after it hit the market. Wow, that's 1861, 40,000 copies
Wow.
of board
That's
games.
a lot
Pretty
of
good,
game,
yeah. Also making a name for himself was George S. Parker, who at the age of 18 in 1883 self-published his first card game called Everlasting. Themes surrounding the names of Parker's early games like Klondike, inspired by the gold rush in Alaska, and the Siege of Havana, reflecting the Spanish-American War, were popular. In 1834, in the middle of the Great Depression, Charles Darrow approached George Parker with an idea of a game involving buying and renting real estate in Atlantic City in 1935. Parker Brothers agreed to publish Monopoly. It was a resounding success. It continues to be one of the most popular board games, with more than 200 million copies sold.
Wow.
Yeah. By the 1940s, games about capitalism and profiteering proliferated, including Cargos, Bulls and Bears, and Gushers. Parker Brothers developed and published Finance and Fortune, and the Landlord's games. Parker Brothers Risk, published in 1959, at the height of the Cold War, was the first smash hit conquest game. Little has changed from its country alignment on the board itself, but vintage game in near mint condition could fetch $150 or more at auction. Other popular war games sought after by collectors include Steve Canyon's Combat, McHale's Navy, and Milton Bradley's Summit. Television in the 1950s led to highly sought after games like Hopalong Cassidy, David Crockett, and Rin Tin Tin. Perhaps the most popular board game of the late 50s was Clue. It was first produced in 1949 and still has appeal to this day. I had no idea Clue was that old. Okay.
I didn't either. I played Clue. I had that one.
Another hit at the time was Cooties.
Oh yeah, I remember Cooties.
Yeah. It was produced in 1939 and utilized wooden bug body pieces. Eventually, a Minneapolis mailman, W.H. Scherer, engineered a plastic bugs that kids took apart in 1949. The later game can fetch several $100s at any auction, provided no pieces are missing from the game, Price says. Sadly, Sharper made a regrettable error by turning down a wood tile crossword game offered to him, which became the mega hit known as Scrabble.
Yeah.
The 1960s was a time of innovation in board games. For example, there was Rock'em Sock'em Robots,
I had that one.
Operation, and Light Bright.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
I wouldn't call Light Bright a board game, but it's
Is it?
these were followed by Mousetrap, Bash, and Bats in the Belfry.
Yeah.
I've never seen Bats in the Belfry.
I don't know that one either.
Milton Bradley took things even further in 1966 with the making of Twister, the first board game to substitute the human body for players.
Yeah,
or
that was
pieces
a
on the
fun
board.
game.
Did you play it?
Oh yeah. I don't think I could play it now. I'm not flexible enough.
Twister sold more than 3 million copies in its first year.
Wow.
All right. So that's kind of the history.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we might as well. You want to take another break?
I guess we could if you
And
want.
then we're gonna.
And then we're going to talk about some of them, huh?
Yes.
Okay. Well, we'll be right back with more Let's Talk Antiques.
Hello, I'm Pick and Rick T from CFC, best place to get you used auto parts and all types of metals to repurpose for your needs. Just take a drive down 55, see this handsome guy, stop on by. Check out our computer for hundreds of autos to locate the make and the model of the part you need. $2 fee is all you pay. Sign in and get a hand stamp, it's good for all day. Bring in your tools, get the parts you need pulled, and use a wheelbarrow to lighten the load. Pay for your parts, prices you'll be fond of. Each part's price the same, Chevy or Honda. Get exchange warranty for 30 days too. Swap out the parts you don't need for the parts that you do. Happy picking!
The Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester has been voted as having the best hamburgers in Manchester. Hometown atmosphere, historical memorabilia, and of course those great burgers, salads, chicken, and so much more. It's the Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester. Call in orders at 728-4452. You can also order at the convenient outdoor curb service. Hamburgers are made the old-fashioned way at the Jiffy Burger, Manchester's finest hamburgers. Open 7:30 until 9, Monday through Saturday.
All right, fellas. What board games? Now, people are playing board games still, obviously.
Not as much, but I'd say it's more video games.
I was wondering, you
Yeah.
think that the electronic, the video games and the cell phones
Oh,
and the
they have-
iPads, has that hurt?
They have games on the computer now, you know. A lot. I mean, not just hardcore video games, but they have games for kids
yeah, but
Well, like
and games that everybody would like.
on our Apple TV,
Yeah.
it's kind of like a Roku. You can buy games on it and board games. Like me and my kids played Trouble on the on the TV.
But it's a board game on the
It's
TV.
a board game on the TV, which wasn't really actually as fun as playing with a board. But the kids can't knock it the board over. So
Yeah,
there is that.
when they're losing, they knock
advantage,
the board over, so
Well,
they put the
whether
pieces back where they thought they
on
sure
purpose
were.
or on accident. And, kids.
I used to play games on Facebook, and you could play them with your friends. You
Oh,
remember
true.
that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well I know that a lot of the video games. You know, they got people all over the United States playing that
Sure, yeah.
game together. You know, but anyway, board games. The one you sit around the kitchen table and play. What are the most popular?
Family thing.
A family thing, a family get together.
I've got a list of the 30 greatest American board games. And to figure this out, it's a triangulation of key term searches on Amazon, plus estimated total sales at BoardGameGeek.com. The games are rated on a 5-point scale according to nostalgia, play, cult rating, and education rating. So, number one on the list, we've already discussed, so I won't have anybody guessing on it, is Scrabble, which kind of surprising that's number one, but also not. It's an easy game to sit down and play, and it's
Yeah.
not a commitment for a long amount of time.
Well, I've played it.
That's one bad thing about Monopoly.
Yeah, that's why when my
Sometimes
kids
they
pull
go
out
on for hours.
When my kids pull out
Yes.
Monopoly, I'm like, I don't have 3 hours.
Yeah,
I used to like playing Monopoly.
it's a fun game. I like it,
But
but
speaking of Monopoly,
Monopoly is number 2. Oh, I should probably give a score rating.
oh yeah,
We got a rave score of 95 on Scrabble, by the way. Okay. So Monopoly comes in at number 2 with a score of 91.25.
okay.
And
what about the nostalgia? It's got about
nostalgia is 100% on that. Playability is 90. Cult following is 100. And education is 80. I guess, let me jump back up. Education on Scrabble was 100, by the way. So I was wondering how that education rating came in on
Yeah.
this.
Teaches you how to spell.
All right, third place is a game I've never played before,
Me neither.
called Catan.
Catan.
Trade, build, and settle. It's got a rave score of the same as 91.5, same as Monopoly. Catan engages players to successfully develop, manage, and earn victory points for the rich island of Catan, vying for resources, navigating incidents, and maintaining resources are a few issues players must govern. A unique hexagonal tile board, which can be rearranged for each game, creates new opportunities for fresh play, makes up the island of Catan. Now, I've actually seen the box before, but I've never played it.
I've
So,
never heard even it. seen it.
I've never heard it or seen it.
Number 4 is another game that I've never heard of. I've definitely never heard of this one. This is called Quirkle. It's got a score of 90, and it looks like dominoes with shapes on it. Created in 2006. The award-winning Quirkle takes a fresh approach at tile-laying games with 108 vibrant pieces displaying combinations of 6 different shapes in 6 different colors. Players work to create a Quirkle by housing the tiles based on common attributes of shapes and colors. Okay.
What number you on?
Number 5 is...
You better skip a lot of that history on it.
Okay. Well, those are ones I'd never heard of before.
Yeah.
So, just to say what they are. Okay. Number 5 is Risk. Love Risk.
Oh,
I used
yeah,
to play it all
Risk.
the time. 87.5 on their score. Number 6, Axis and Allies. So it's a World War II themed game. 86.25. Remember that one. Number 7 is Clue.
Yeah.
With an 85 score on that one. Number 8 is old favorite is Battleship with
Oh, yeah.
Sang my Battleship.
2.5. Love Battleship. That's a good one. Number 9 is Jenga. Wouldn't consider that a board game again, but but it's a fun game nonetheless. Number 10, Trivial Pursuit. You know,
Oh,
flash
yeah.
from
Yes.
the 80s. It's a score of 78.75. Number 11 is Twister.
Twister.
Howard's favorite.
Yeah.
Yes.
77.
Well, in the old days.
Number 12 is one I haven't heard of. It's Blockus.
I've never
It's
heard of that.
it's a tile laying game also from created in 2000.
What was it, 75 on the rating?
75, yeah. Number 13 is Connect 4. Love that's
Oh,
a
yeah.
good one.
I remember that one.
73.75 on that one. Number 14 is Operation. That was a big hit one in the 70s.
Oh,
Yeah.
I have that one.
Love that one. 72.5. Number 15 is Yahtzee.
Oh, yeah.
70 on that. Used to play that back in the day. Number 16 is Cards Against Humanity.
I've never heard
I
of that
never
one.
heard of that one.
It's popular with college kids nowadays. I've never played it, but I know the premise of it says a party game for horrible people. And you lay down cards and it says stuff about like just
Satirical statements.
bad stuff.
Oh,
Basically,
okay.
It's not for children.
Not
Would
for
be my
children.
thing.
Oh.
Okay, there you
No.
Well, sorry.
go. 17 is Sorry. Yeah.
Oh,
my,
yeah.
My
Now,
kids,
sorry is a variation of aggravation in a way.
true,
isn't it?
yeah. And my kids hate that because I beat them every time.
Oh, yeah.
65 on that one.
You
Yeah,
say
it's
sorry
really bad when
beat
you
'em?
put the kid back and they start
Yep.
crying.
18 is Hungry Hungry Hippos.
Oh, yeah,
used to
remember
like
that one.
63.75. Number 19 is Mousetrap. I've always loved Mousetrap. Just,
That's the one where you reach in or something, isn't
no,
it?
where you build the mousetrap as you're working your way toward the cheese, and at the end you turn the crank and catch the mouse.
Yeah, or something.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I've seen that one.
Number 20 is Cranium. It's it's a brainy game. I've never played it, but I've seen it around.
Yeah.
It's a score of 58.75. Number 21, Shoots and Ladders. Yeah, I used to play that with the kids when they were little. 57.5. Number 22 is Scattergories. Another like a thinking card game.
Yeah.
Did we miss Shoots and Ladders, or did you get that?
Yeah, I did that one.
I didn't hear you.
Okay. Number 23 is The Game of Life
Oh, yeah.
with a score of 55. My kids like that. I've never been a huge
Didn't you write
fan
a
of
song
that.
About the game of life?
No. Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
There was a song in the commercial.
Yeah.
Number 24 is Kerplunk, which is where you stack the marbles in the top of the tube and you pull out the whatever those little stick things are called.
Yeah.
And whoever pulls out the one that makes all the marbles go through loses. I remember that.
Yeah, I remember that one. That's been, I'd forgot about it, though.
Yeah, 52.5. Number 25, another Howard favorite, is Trouble.
Oh, yeah.
And Double Trouble.
And Double Trouble,
And
which
Double
I've never
Trouble.
heard of. A score of 51.25. Number 26 is Zingo. It says it's bingo with a zing. I don't know that one.
I don't know.
It had a score of 50. Candyland is number 27.
Oh, Candyland! I remember that one.
I
with
played that with the kids.
Yeah,
quite a
when the
bit.
kids.
47 or 48.75 is the score on that one. I think that should have ranked higher.
Yeah.
Maybe it loses its playability after you get to where you can read.
Maybe, yeah, if you get older.
28 is Pictionary.
I remember that one.
That's a good one. Score of 45. 29 is Cootie.
Oh, yeah.
And their example is of the wooden one, which I've never seen before. It's cool. You should look that up. Score 40. And number 30 is the last board game that I've bought. It's called Pie in the Face.
Pie in the Face.
It is a great board game. You spin a spinner.
Uh-huh.
It's not really a board game. You spin a spinner, and it tells you how many times to crank the handle. And you put your face inside of this piece of cardboard, and there's a hand in front of you that you put whipped cream in.
Oh, no.
And you crank it like if you do a 6, odds are you're going to get hit with the pie in the face. And if you do a 1, you might or you might not. And I tell you, my kids' birthday parties, that's the best
I can
game
see
for
where that would
birthday
be real
party
popular.
nowadays.
Now, what is the game? I can't remember where you put the thing in your mouth and try to pronounce words and
I don't have it, but my kids have all played it.
Yeah, you can't talk right, and you pronounce these words, and everybody's got to guess what you're saying. You got to read something or pronounce a word or something.
I think you're just trying to get them to say the word.
Yeah,
So I don't remember the name of that one, but yeah.
Now,
all my kids have played it.
We've talked about these board games. What about checkers
Or chess.
or chess?
I like playing chess.
I don't know.
You would think checkers would be higher, one of the ones that was listed on as the more popular games.
You'd think so.
Now I can understand chess because chess is kind of complicated for some people.
And it's been around for forever.
But it's been
too.
around
you
forever.
You got to think of that, yeah. So I don't know.
Did you get through all the games?
I did. That was 30.
That was 30 popular games.
We even got like a minute to talk before we had a commercial break.
Now you've looked up some of them games, hadn't you?
Okay, these are some of the most valuable vintage board games. We have the Stratomatic 1963 baseball, Major League Baseball team board game. Nice condition, very rare. Do you know anything about this one, David? I'm going to pull it up so we can understand a little bit what you're supposed to do with it. Are you hitting a ball? No, it's just a card game and statistics something. So there's no moving parts involved in it. It's for those people that really like baseball stats, I think.
you know, I can remember sometime in the past they were talking about the game business, these board game business on television, and how every year there are hundreds of people who come up with an idea. They go to Bradley and Parker and try to get them to buy their game, and there's hundreds of them.
I did that. Me and a friend of mine in college came up with 4-person chess, and we were like, what a great idea. And a couple of years ago I searched on eBay, and you can buy 4-person chess things on eBay.
Well,
I guess
you missed out on that. See?
No, I haven't yet.
But a lot of these guys,
Trek one.
a lot of these things that come up, and they may produce a couple of thousand games, and then it just dies off, And if you had one of those in mint condition,
that's a thought, yeah.
That's the ones like this. What did you call that?
The Stratomatic baseball.
Stratomatic.
Oh, by the way, 18 bids on that, and it sold for $1,000.
See?
So somebody was into that game.
Somebody was into it, or somebody that is into games realizes that that's a really rare game.
Yeah.
We better take a break.
Yeah, we at a
got
stopping point there?
Sure. Wow.
Okay, we'll be right back, hopefully, if we can keep the buttons right.
Hello, I'm Pick and Rick T from CFC, best place to get you used auto parts and all types of metals to repurpose for your needs. Just take a drive down 55, see this handsome guy, stop on by. Check out our computer for hundreds of autos to locate the make and the model of the part you need. $2 fee is all you pay. Sign in and get a hand stamp, it's good for all day. Bring in your tools, get the parts you need pulled, and use a wheelbarrow to lighten the load. Pay for your parts, prices you'll be fond of. Each part's price the same, Chevy or Honda. Get exchange warranty for 30 days too. Swap out the parts you don't need for the parts that you do. Happy picking!
The Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester has been voted as having the best hamburgers in Manchester. Hometown atmosphere, historical memorabilia, and of course those great burgers, salads, chicken, and so much more. It's the Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester. Call in orders at 728-4452. You can also order at the convenient outdoor curb service. Hamburgers are made the old-fashioned way at the Jiffy Burger, Manchester's finest hamburgers. Open 7:30 until 9, Monday through Saturday.
All right. What's on next?
Okay, well, I was pointed out that I had messed up my eBay search.
Oh,
and I
okay.
actually missed a couple of the ones that were worth more. And now this is strange. The Munsters Drag Race board game, 1965, Hasbro, near mint condition. $2,200 was the buy it now on that.
I liked their copping car.
Yeah,
That was cool.
but I don't think I've ever seen or heard of that game.
No,
That's why it's worth so much.
There you go. It must not have made a whole bunch.
I've seen
of
that car.
Oh yeah, I've seen the car. Where was
Actually,
it?
the
Some show.
Munsters
They took it on
dominate
tour
the
once.
above $1,000 range. Next is HTF Be a Manager Hank Bauer board game, vintage baseball, rare Bamco American League game. And we looked up Hank Bauer because we knew we recognized the name, but not really what. So he was a baseball player who was born in 1922, and he was also a manager who took, who was it? Took to,
He
The-
managed
he
a
played
team
with
in
the
the
Yankees,
American League.
and he
with the Athletics.
he was the manager of the Orioles, and in 1966 they swept the Los Angeles Dodgers. So I think that was probably why he got the game.
Yeah.
Yes, I'd say
So-
that's why.
How much
But-
that game bring?
Well, they wanted $1,967, and they took a best offer.
Somewhere between
But-
1,500 and 2,200.
Yeah, but it was more than $1,500 they got for it.
Wow.
Because the next one is another Munsters game, a Munsters Picnic board game, 1965, near mint condition. And then
Dig this.
$1,500, and then the next one is another Munsters board game, the Munsters Masquerade Party board game, 1965, near mint condition. It brought $1,500 also. So
know
Somebody,
why-
somebody was
all these
collecting
games-
those.
You know why they're all these games is bringing big money?
why is
Free
that?
shipping.
Yeah,
Free shipping.
of
Yeah.
course.
That could be it. Yeah.
I
Well-
think someone was collecting Munsters.
I know one thing. I'm going home and looking in the cupboard at all those old games we got stashed.
I'll tell you, if you got a Monsters game, you're
My
you're,
goodness.
in the.
Just might have one.
Now check this one out. This
Here's
next one.
1935 Charles Darrow black box Monopoly game, ultra rare vintage antique. So this is the original 1935 Monopoly. One bid on this one, but the opening bid was $1,250. So
How long does the auction go yet?
this
It's
sold-
over- it's
yeah,
over with,
this
okay.
sold
This
in
is stuff
February,
that
yeah.
sold. That was somebody that knew what that thing was worth.
Yeah.
And then we got a Fortune board game from 1935. I don't know that. The game of trading and speculation. That were 5 bids on that were $935.
I'm
Here's-
surprised the next one didn't do better.
1921 Wizard of Oz Parker Brothers board game. They wanted $1,500 and they got somewhere between $500 and $900 on that. Here's a vintage 1930s Capital Lou wood pieces for a Cuban Monopoly game. 3 bids on that went for $525. Here's a vintage backgammon game in leather case. That's an old board
That's
game.
a very
There you
old
go.
game, backgammon.
$520. I wonder what makes a backgammon worth more than another.
The leather case.
I don't know.
Well, a lot of the really old games, we talked about chess.
They might have
and
ivory.
You got ivory
chips,
pieces
too, you know.
or fancy carvings, like dominoes. A lot of the dominoes, the individual domino pieces are well done.
Yeah. I got a 1940s Flying Aces board game with box, framed Selcho and Ryder World War II era. They wanted $475. Actually, they got $475 because the next one below it's that. Okay.
I'd say they got
Oh,
more.
that was their best offer accepted was $475.
Okay.
I think. Yeah. Fireball Island from 1986 is the next one. 3D board adventure game. Never heard of that
I've
one.
never.
Me neither.
$475 was the buy it now though. So there's something that you've never
Hmm.
heard of that maybe it wasn't a very good game and you just got stuck back in the closet. Here's
Check this one out.
a rare, unique, large folding backgammon set with a leather board, 65 centimeters by 55 centimeters, vintage 60, it says. And this looks like something old from China. I mean, this is a really old leather case. It looks very nice. $400 was the buy it now on that. Actually, it was from Italy. It's being sold from Italy. Here's a vintage designer leather backgammon set, exquisite condition, the Conran shop from England, which maybe if you're really into backgammon, you know what the Conran shop is. And it went for somewhere around $400 on that. Vintage Hero Quest 1990 board game. Never heard of that. It's a complete game with Milton Bradley. Buy it now was $425. That's probably a really good, return on your money. Here's Advanced Hero Quest, complete new unpunched thing, which I guess means the cards are still, or whatever things are still in their little cardboard holder. $400 for that one. Here's a cool one. This is a 1964 Hasbro Challenge the Yankees board game, with Mickey Mantle featured in the game.
Oh, okay.
25 bids on that for $406.50. We should jump to some of these other categories, so we got a minute to talk about those. David had me pull up some of his favorite stuff.
Oh.
So how about here is a Hopalong Cassidy board game.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I didn't pull up anything for Hopalong Cassidy. Did you get something for Hopalong Cassidy? You told me to search for it.
Yeah, but it's
Okay.
what are some of the TV games you got?
I got a 1961 American Heritage Battle Cry game that came up on that one. That was $22.50 was for that one.
Okay.
I don't know.
Ronnie got a Hopalong Cassidy.
Do you have a Hopalong
What
Cassidy
you
over
got,
there?
Ronnie?
Yeah, they took $150.
Oh, okay.
Hopalong Cassidy board game by Milton Bradley, 1950.
I got a Bonanza, unique vintage game from for the Western TV series from the 1970s. They wanted $250 and took a best offer on that. That's sold from Greece, by the way. That game traveled pretty good.
Yeah,
pretty
how
good
did it get
ways.
over there, I wonder?
And here's a Bonanza Michigan Rummy board game from 1965. That went for $50.20. Let's see. I searched for Roy Rogers and found Buck Rogers. So I'll go ahead and give you one of those.
Speaking of Buck Rogers.
I got a vintage 1988 TSR Buck Rogers Battle for the 25th Century board game. $45.
So he was battling ahead of Star Trek.
Oh, yeah.
I got a Gene Autry's Dude Ranch game from 1956. You probably have one of these, don't you? Yeah. Okay. Well, sad to let you know, this one went for $14.80, so that wasn't one of the better investments. But you hang on to it for another 50 years, and we'll get.
Mine's signed by him.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
There you go.
that makes a big difference.
Somehow it just doesn't surprise me. All right, Beverly Hillbillies board game,
What would that bring?
1963. That brought $50. And here's another a Beverly Hills board game and puzzle. 99% complete, which means they lost a piece of the puzzle.
There's a piece missing.
I like the hillbillies.
That was $40. So still a good investment if you bought it for $4 or $5 back in the day.
That was a lot.
Now I had to look up my favorite toy from the 70s, which was there was a kid down the street that I used to go to his house every day to play Battling Tops, and it was a game where
You spun the top and they.
it was like a little Rena.
And they were kind of curved,
Right,
wasn't
and
it?
you would put the top in the thing, and you pull the string back on
Yeah.
it in the thing, and launch them onto each other. And whoever's top was still standing.
Yeah,
was
because it would
was
hit
the
and
winner.
bounce. One of them would go flying off
Exactly.
the board. Yeah, I remember that game.
So
Goodness.
1968 was the original version. I bought a re-release of it in the 2000s, and it wasn't nearly as good. They shrunk the board, and
Yeah.
it wasn't as good. But the original you can be had for $80 off of eBay.
Oh, you
currently,
need
so.
to go get you an original.
There you go. So
Yeah.
there you go. Buying my childhood back.
You can-
That would be
yeah, that's
there
what
you go.
everybody
See, that's why a lot of people collect stuff. They buy their childhood back, right,
There you
Dave?
go.
They can afford it.
Ah,
Once you can afford to buy.
Yeah, you know, when you're young, you kind of broke hard.
yeah, isn't it? So I must be young, because I'm still broke.
I'm very young.
All right, well, it looks like that's about it for today, Ice. And we'll be back next week with more Let's Talk Antiques, and we'll have all week to think of something to talk about. Oh, we're going to talk about,
Oh, we already know. what
oh,
we're talking
Flask
about.
or something, wasn't it?
Yes.
Is that what it was?
Pre-prohibition
Ooh,
stuff, the mail order stuff.
oh, the mail.
Where you got the mail. You used to buy whiskey through the mail.
Well, yeah,
Yes.
How about the drugstore?
at the drugstore.
Imagine how many kids ordered whiskey through the mail back then.
Probably not too many. They, you know.
Yeah, I bet more than you think.
Yeah,
They didn't have any money. I wonder if the pharmacist made his own brand though.
possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we'll see you next week. Bye bye.